Hello again, fellow chess players. Today we're continuing with the educational games format, so I'll try to play some games. Let's open up the interface right now. We'll stick with 5+3, which I think is the right amount of time to commentate on the games without falling asleep at the board. So let's see what we're up against today. We're playing as black, so let's switch the interface. There we go. My opponent is rated 1900. So it's a pretty good level overall. Again, let's try to play naturally, so I'll play e5 to take control of the center. Now you see he's not playing the main lines. He plays knight c3, which is either the Vienna or the four knights variation. And here we can generally develop both knights. We're in the development phase right now, so either move would work fine. Let's start with this one. That way, if he plays f4, we keep the option of playing d5 open, though both were fine. He plays d3, which I think is already a slight mistake, or at least a minor inaccuracy. See the bishop? This is an open game, and the bishop is basically stuck inside now, so it's not a very happy bishop. I can develop my pieces now, but I could actually take space in the center with d5 already. I don't want to rush because no one's taking d5 away from me. So I'll start with knight c6 to defend the center, and then I'll keep the option to take that space later. Let's see how he plays now. Maybe he'll go with f4, and indeed he plays f4. Okay, the problem here is that he hasn't developed any pieces on the king side. And I could probably take some initiative here with the move d5, but again, I really want to play very calmly and carefully in this position. So instead of pushing forward aggressively, we'll just make this move here, d6, which keeps things solid and stable. It's a more patient approach, and it helps maintain a balanced position on the board. I'm defending the center and don't want to give him the initiative. He plays h3, which is another suspicious move, another small error because it weakens his king's position. And this is especially serious since he hasn't developed his pieces yet. If he were ahead in development, it wouldn't be so bad. Now with this move, I already have to check if maybe knight takes e4 is a good solution. It's not, because he takes with the knight, and then if I check with the queen, he can move the knight back. So let's just keep playing calmly. You know what? I'll play this move here, g6. I want to develop my bishop, but notice I'm also supporting my knight for the h5 square, where I'll go later. Okay, he's finally developing his pieces too, so I'll go ahead and develop my bishop calmly as well. My goal here is quite simple. I don't want to get into tactics, I don't need to. And I'd have to think more to spot certain tactics anyway. Black's simple plan here is to castle and secure the king's position. And once that's done, we can challenge the center with the move d5. He's putting his knight there now, and honestly, he's still not developing even a single piece. This, sooner or later, is definitely going to be a problem for him. But all right, let's see what happens next. Come on, it's time to castle, I think. Now he has another problem. When I take here, he'll also start having problems on the diagonal. And on pawn takes, I'll do this intermediate move. I'll take the knight first and then take back with the knight on e5. Now he plays knight e3, which you see. It's another move I don't understand, I repeat. My opponent is still 1900, so the rating isn't that low. But here, simply, I already wanted to take even before. I'd say I'll take here with great pleasure. And now my bishop obviously comes to life. And it's not even certain that you'll come back to take the pawn because you play knight c4. Now I have two interesting ways. I could do the simple knight h5, which defends the pawn, targets the weak square on g3, and that would already be a good solution. But wait, his king is in the center, so he definitely has dynamic problems. How do I, let's say, play well against the central king? I have to open the lines. Here's a move that's literally singing, or rather screaming, d5. I attack the knight with tempo, and now I open the lines too. You see the problems with his king. In this game, he completely ignored his development, starting from when he made the move d3. See? The bishop stayed blocked, and now he's paying for it. Now he's paying for it after d5. Well, he'll have to think about it because d5 opens the position. He takes. Okay. Now, I can already take back, obviously, without even having to think, or I could do intermediate rook 8 check. I don't think it changes, because even on knight takes d5, he'll play with the bishop on e2. And so I'd say, let's take quite calmly. See bishop e2. As we anticipated, now we simply have an extra pawn and also a position, let's say, with very good pieces. So let's put the rook on the open file. He'll have to castle his king. And now let's say we can maybe even play knight to e3 to, let's say, remove the weakness. But I'd like to somehow maximize my advantage, and I think this knight here is well placed overall. And I have no problem now playing b5 because the bishop isn't on the diagonal, so I play b5. I force the knight to a bad square, which will probably be a 3, because on d2, you see there's this fork. In fact, he goes to a 3, and now I'm in no particular hurry to do anything. Anyway, his pieces can't develop. Look, you see, even the bishop can't develop. Now, in my opinion, simply the move a 6. I defend the pawn, I'm forcing the knight to the side. So this game, you see, is the heart of the match, and he's not activating his pieces. He hasn't developed them well, starting from the very first move. And now, if I don't get too confused, since I'm commenting and playing, and as you can see, I have 1 minute and 53, so I'm already low on time. The game is actually already under control. There's not much more to add. Rook b1, he wants to develop the bishop while defending this pawn. That makes sense. And okay, I can already take the bishop pair with knight e3. Obviously, let's see if I can maybe get more out of it. You know what? I'll develop the bishop first, because this way he'll play bishop d2, which is a standard move after he played rook b1, and then I'll play knight e3. So, okay, c4. I didn't expect that, but I don't think it makes much sense. Because now you see another problem. A weakness has been created on d3, so what he did doesn't make much sense. And, well, I'd say we won't need much convincing to put the knight on e3. And this pawn isn't hanging because obviously there's a2. Down here, he doesn't care, obviously. And I'd say that... Wait, though. Always watch out for tactics. If I take a2, queen b3, there's something I don't like here, since I don't really need to take on b2 on a2. Sorry, maybe I can do something different, or maybe I can do something a little bit different. Maybe I can do something different. Let's see, anyway. I'm playing on the fact that my pieces are placed much better than his. And so, let's see. I don't like the knight on c6. Maybe we'll recycle it now to d5. Let's see what happens. The pawn doesn't matter. Here, black's advantage isn't a pawn advantage. It's an advantage, obviously, of dynamism. The bishops are very strong. So it doesn't matter that he took the pawn back, because our dynamism is very strong anyway. He plays a3. Obviously, the knight goes to d5. And now you see how well we're supporting our position. I just need to speed up a bit, because obviously by commenting so much, I'm down to 57 seconds. Maybe I should try another pace, but then the video gets a bit too long, so I still have to manage it. I have to manage it a bit. In the comments, always tell me if you like this kind of format, so I can maybe do a few more. Queen b3, okay? Maybe I'll play rook b8 first, right? So maybe we also threaten some tactics, which doesn't hurt. Obviously, we have to pay a little attention, right? Down here, but the knight on d5, let's say it's pretty immovable, so we shouldn't have any particular problems. Now watch out, knight f4. I'm attacking the bishop. But I don't want to do it right away because, again, I don't want to run into any weird tactics. So maybe let's see if I play rook 7 first, or depending on what he does. Meanwhile, he has to be careful here, right? Because here, bishop to a6 and c6 loses the piece. So he has to be very careful here not to lose everything right away. Let's see what he plays. He's also starting to run low on time now. We have 45 seconds left. That should be quite enough, I think. If I don't get too distracted while I'm talking, let's see together what he actually offers us, because he really has to watch out for many different things here, right? The knight is a bit exposed. And knight to f4 is an interesting threat, because I'd take the bishop with a check. So maybe I can play knight to f4, because I doubt he has any counter tactics, since I take this with a check. In fact, he's thinking a lot. The position has become complicated now. Now, a small point I'd make is, instead of sitting here thinking, right, now that the game is already complicated, maybe a few moves earlier, instead of playing lightning fast in the opening, making some rather strange moves, it would have been better, let's say for a moment, that we take some time to really think carefully in this position. Now, queen to c2, okay, that's obviously a wise move, a very smart and thoughtful decision. It's a wise move, and you can see why someone would choose it, given the circumstances on the board. Okay, I'd say we play bishop to a6 like this. Let's start putting on some pressure. Let's start putting on some pressure after bishop to a 6. Let's see where the knight goes now. Maybe to a 4. Well, the problem with a 4 is that I would have had knight to b4. He plays this. And so at this point, I think it's time to start being careful. Knight to c6 could be a problem, maybe, so we don't want to just give it to him like that. All right, then very calmly first we play queen to d6. So the queen is also better placed. And then now let's see, maybe knight to f4, 17 seconds. I need to talk a bit less and play a bit more. And obviously the knight, you see there are problems with this knight. So as soon as I move mine, this knight is hanging and you have to be very careful there. Watch out now for c5 too, you see, with the move queen to d6. I freed up the potential to also play this c5 b4. I'd say I won't hesitate to play this since I have 15 seconds. We're attacking the knight. We're attacking the knight, so he has to be careful. If he moves the knight, watch out. Knight check, bishop takes d3. And I take more material. Rook here, and this is mine. And you see, in the end, I managed to take the piece. He's also in time trouble now and continuing to play poorly. Now, this is another threat too. Queen takes c7. Queen takes c7. I'd say we take this with a check and then we take this. Now, the rooks are also under attack. I'm speeding up a bit because I don't want to lose on time. This is mine. And now e2 check. And I'd say the game is pretty much under control. Let's see where he puts the king. But anyway, there's not much to add. In fact, he resigns here. Obviously, let's say the position was not sustainable. Nice game, nice game. Let me just show you again for a moment the mistakes he made in the opening. See this move d3. I mean, why do you have to block your bishop? I understand you want to make the move f4, but you have to give some priority to your development before playing so aggressively. And again, here you see another move that develops nothing and still weakens many squares. I played normally here, so I put the pieces in the right squares, g6, double idea, development, but also supporting a possible knight h5. And here, simply, he continued not to develop pieces, and sooner or later, when you're behind in development, what happens is that the opponent opens up the game for you. And obviously, let's say the game goes in a certain direction. Well, I hope that you enjoyed this game. I must say that many interesting points came up as usual. If you want to support me, subscribe, like, and leave a comment, and I'll see you in the next videos.